Retail and hospitality is changing, with often complex and fragmented systems combined with large volumes of customer data for businesses to make sense of. It's critical to work with the right partners in order to guarantee success. At Tratec Consulting, we help retail and hospitality businesses transform their technology, removing overly bloated processes and creating unified and efficient systems of working throughout. So don't just take our word for it. See for yourself. Tratec Consulting, the leaders in technology transformation across retail and hospitality.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the All Things Borough podcast, the official podcast for Farnborough Football Club, and sponsored by Tratec Consulting. Tratec takes your business visions and turns them into innovative reality. Good evening, everybody watching us on YouTube. I'm Alan as usual, and I'm joined by Tom. No Simon tonight, thank God. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm really good. There's no Simon. Quite happy to be back. No, hasn't been that long since the last one actually, I think, but since the NLS guy, the last time I was on. But happy to be back especially after the views last episode got. Hoping we can.
I know, yeah. We are finding it a bit weird. A bit weird what happens with but we're trying something different tonight. Obviously, as you can see, we've got no players on this week, and we're probably going to struggle for the next few weeks to get players on with the Saturday Tuesday that's going to be going on for the next few weeks. They're going to be quite busy, especially with what's been going on with the lack of wins and lack of goals. So I'm sure there's going to be extra training here and there. So that's probably what they're doing tonight. As at time of recording, it is Monday. Tomorrow, being Tuesday, is they're away at Salisbury. And you're going to which you're going to be going to, Tom?
I'll be there. Yeah, already went to Salisbury away earlier in the season and in the trophy, and we got spanked 3-0, and it was albeit actually it wasn't a bad performance, terrible result. It's just Salisbury are a really good side, actually, I'd say. So I'm excited to see the game. I think it's a humongous game for sort of the narrative of the season. It's a bit of an opportunity to save it as well, I'd say. Really, it's a key point. So I'm looking, and it's always a fun ground to go to. The Romac, good fans there, nice place.
Is it a ground that you've been to before?
Yeah, I went earlier in the season.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And I've got some close friends of mine from uni who actually just live in Salisbury and played for the youth teams and stuff. So I'm excited to go with them.
No, brilliant. And how's uni life treating you?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We're at a good stage at the moment. It's fine. It's sort of quite alleviated of work. It's all about to change. New projects coming, but at this very moment, I feel on top of things actually. So quite happy with that.
Quite rare for a uni student.
Yeah, it really can be. But you got to take advantage of these times. Actually enjoy them. Yeah. So nice chance to sort of focus.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. Good. Yeah. Good. Good to have you back on. Anyway, and as we said, Simon isn't with us tonight. He forgot he
Hallelujah.
He's forgot he has scheduled a dinner with some of his work colleagues. So that's why he's not here. But that's,
just like to say a special little prayer to those colleagues who have to listen to him all night.
Listen to him droning on for hours on end. But I think I should say I've got a couple of apologies for Simon. I'm going to say on behalf of Simon. If for those that listened to our episode last week, Simon did say that towards the end that we were talking about the Carabao Cup, and he did say that the winners of the Carabao Cup do not get into Europe, which I questioned. I was a bit sort of I'm in an iron about it because I wasn't too sure he was correct, and he was adamant that he was right. And then later on, the next day, I proved him wrong because the Carabao Cup winners do get into Europe. They get into the Europa Conference League. Previously, they used to get into the Europa League, and his claim was that they haven't been getting into Europe via that competition for the last 10 years, which he is wrong. and which I will, on behalf of him, I will apologise for that massive error of information. This is what happens when you don't do your research and just say things off the cuff like Simon does. And also, this will make you laugh, Tom.
Yeah.
Simon will have to issue an apology to the club because Saturday's game against Hemel, which we'll come on to in a minute. One of the incidents that happened, which was the foul on Miller.
Shocking decision.
Everybody was
shocking decision.
Obviously, everybody was upset about it and unhappy and angry about it. But Simon took that anger a bit too far, and went on probably like a minute or 2 minute tirade of abuse at the linesman on our side, which prompted Kevin Dyer, the vice chairman and stadium manager, to come over and quietly have a word with him and basically tell him to shut up. So I'm sure Simon would like to issue an apology to Kevin and the club for that outrageous behaviour.
I mean, ironically, probably the first ever podcaster that's actually ever been told to shut up as well. He speaks, actually speaks somewhat like on a level, and he had to be told to shut up, which is especially sort of for Simon's standards even impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to stop him as well, and I just couldn't. And because of where we were sitting, because we were sitting amongst like a couple of the directors and obviously the away team directors and that were next to us in the seats next to us, and he just kept shouting. He just forgot. I think he just forgot where he was, and I said to him, "You got to control yourself," which I've known the man for over 30 years, and I know that was a stupid thing to say to him because I know he can't control himself when he gets angry.
Yeah.
But obviously Simon is sorry to Kevin and the club for that, and he probably won't do it again. Not in there anyway.
It's interesting. We've all sort of lost our heads and stuff. Can we have any direct quotes of what he said, just for the viewers to get an idea, or should we just leave that
there? Well, no, because it was just a lot of effing and blinding, shouting at the linesman, telling me he's useless and stuff like that. And there was a lot of swearing.
Probably reads like one of his dodgy tweets.
Yeah, safe.
Reads like one of his dodgy tweets, probably.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, look, everybody was angry about it. And if he was in with amongst the PRE fans and on the other side of the stadium, nobody would have batted an eyelid. It's just because of where we were sitting that
around the children
to come and have a word. So naughty Simon, he won't be doing that again.
But back in next week when we have the lino on.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, so as we're talking about it, we'll go on to the game against Hemel on Saturday.
Yeah.
It finished obviously 1-0 to Hemel. They scored within the first, I think it was the third minute, just after the third minute. I don't know if you weren't there, were you, Tom?
I wasn't able to attend, but I've been told about it. I've watched the highlights.
Have you watched the highlight?
And I mean, I admittedly, probably I was told about it by my mate who just left the game drunk. So I don't know how much I can really take from this, but been told that, just, to put it humbly and simply, their goal was offside. Miller should have had we should have had a red card go the other way, and generally we were the better side, but didn't really capitalise on it.
I think first half it was probably me and Simon said it on the Farnborough Community Radio at half time. Probably, and Spencer has obviously echoed this as well. Probably the worst first half performance I think we've seen at this club for a long time. It was just all over the place. Nothing really was going right. There's the ball spent a lot of time in the air. There wasn't a lot of ball on the ground, which is where we know we're strong. And yeah, it was just crazy. It just wasn't. Nothing was going right, and we just weren't. It was just one of the worst halves of football I've ever seen. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Spencer didn't make any changes. At least we were expecting at least 2 changes at half time. And then when they came out in the second half, he changed the shape a little bit because we started with a back three. He changed the shape a little bit, and we started the second half with a back four, and we sort of went 4-2-3-1. I think it was. That's what it looked like to us anyway. And we started to play football a little bit more, which, as you know, Tom, that when we kick the ball on the ground and we play that football along the ground, we were a lot better.
I think
we were
on
a lot
our
better.
day, one of the best teams in the division at it. You look at the I think might have been Averley or Enfield at home, Miller goal. It's one of the best bit of passing plays that's led to a goal this season.
Yeah, and that happened a few times in the second half, and we had a few more chances that we could have scored, but yeah, it wasn't to be. I'm not taking anything away from Hemel because they defended really, really well. The new manager Lee Allison has got them playing some good football. He's got them well organised, and yeah, they defended really well and put the bodies on the line. So full credit to them, full credit to him and his staff for getting them out there and doing what they did. And he's got them on a good run. They've in 5 games they've won 3 and lost 2, so including Saturday. So they're doing really well. But let's talk about the 2 big incidents that happened.
Yeah.
So the first one was in the first half, which was obviously the goal. Now, obviously, we've seen all the replays. We saw it live. I think he was just offside when this is where I'm sort of a bit cloudy with the rules really. So it looked like he was offside when the ball was initially played. Robbo has not made an attempt to like get the ball and pass it back. He's attempted to sort of block the ball, and it's ricocheted off his leg or something, I think, and then gone through to the Hemel player, who then ran through, and it was a really good goal. Do you know what I mean? It was a really good goal. I'm not going to take anything away from that. And I was fully expecting the linesman to put his flag up, because you know what they do, like in the Premier League, when they put it up late and they come. He just let it play, and sometimes like in like the Premier League, when they let the play run out before so the phaser play is over and then they put the flag up. So I was expecting, after he scored the goal, that's the phaser play over. I was expecting him to then put the flag up and run down to where the offside was, but it never happened. So that goal was given. So I don't know what you think about it, Tom, after seeing the replays.
I think it's a difficult one. I don't think it's like the Miller, the instant the other end of the pitch, where I think Stevie Wonder could have seen what happened there. But I feel it is difficult, and it takes sort of an understanding of the rules, I suppose. And I think that's where it becomes complex, and you can get quite nitpicky. I just think you've got to be careful, and I think part of it, is being aware as a football side. I think those things are avoidable, and the best teams avoid. And I think it's about working as a team and sort of just game intelligence. But it's just also quite inherently unlucky, and in the way it almost feels like, what way is the penny going to fall? Again, with you or against you, and I think a familiar sort of feeling Farnborough this season's been against, and it's been makes it quite difficult. I just think, I feel you've got to feel bad for sort of the referees in this situation as well. To a level,
Of course you do. Because we'll always say it's not an easy job to be a referee. The decisions that they have to make it's not easy, but sometimes they can sort of just take a step back and have a little think. But yeah,
that's caught in the moment. It's such a big part of it.
But the second incident, which was in the second half, which was the foul on Miller, it was a good. I've watched it a couple of times now, so it was a good flick on from Hish to split the defenders, so Miller can run onto it. Miller's run through. He's not like central to the goal. He is running down sort of the right hand side, so he's the right side of the of the box, and as he's come across the defender's clipped him and he's gone down. When we saw it in live, we saw the referee put the whistle to his mouth as if, and we thought he blew the whistle because you couldn't hear it because obviously everyone had jumped up and started screaming. So you couldn't hear the whistle. But I think what had happened was he went to put his whistle to his mouth and he's looked at the linesman as if to consult him, and the linesman hasn't done anything. And then he's let play go, and that's where everybody was getting angry.
I think the ridiculous part of it for me is from what I've heard from Spencer's interview is that I don't know if it's the linesman or the referee said it, but sort of trying to justify it by saying I thought he was going to the corner, which I think is one of the most ridiculous things. Yeah. I don't want to exaggerate. I don't want to go over the top, but that is genuinely, like, to me, quite plainly, an actually like mental thing to say. Because contextually in the situation, firstly, what player rightfully is 1-0 down, is through on goal cleanly.
Yeah.
Is thinking, I'm taking this to the corner rather than just going straight to the side. Especially a player like Miller, who's quite instinctful in the box and stuff. And secondly, even if he was going to the corner, you can't just chop someone down last man, not get any of the ball. It was, I think you can see on the Hemel, I don't know which Hemel player it was, but I think you can tell from his body language and almost just like general expression, like ism after that. He looks guilty and it looks like a tactical foul. That's what it reads like. So I think it was hard to get that decision wrong. I think you could give like 100 people around the country the chance of reffing that exact moment, even in the stadium with all the pressure, whatever, and they'll get it right. I think compare 99 at times at 100. I think that decision goes the other way.
I think what the referee has to do there in that situation is not just look at the linesman to see what he wants to do, is actually say, right, you know what, the ball stops, blow his whistle, it's got to be a foul anyway. Yeah. And then go over and can actually speak to the linesman and see what he has to say, and then they can come to a decision like that.
I think the referee needs to take a bit more authority, it's all quite a familiar theme, especially recently, because we spoke about this on Boxing Day and we spoke about how these things sort of reverse themselves and like equal themselves out, and I think it's almost a pattern now, these things, and especially with the situation with the 2 late disallowed goals against Hampton. I think the referee on both those days need to take more authority, and obviously the linesman could do better, the linesman could advise them better, but you can't. I think you're the referee, you're not the assistant. As the assistant referee and as a referee, I think that needs to be understood a bit, and they need to be less fearful of overruling and seeing something as it is, and like you said, use them as what they are, an assistant. Get what their view was, but it was really frustrating. But I want to add that as much as there's a lot of talk about Farm, there's always the feeling with us. I think every team feels it naturally because it's sort of the thing that you look inwards to. But I feel like it has been a big thing with Farnborough this season and last few seasons is the referees have robbed us of here places. You look at Boxing Day this year, you look at, I could say thousands, I think off the top of my head, that have stuck with me and pissed me off. But specifically, if you want to be a good side, especially in a division with the level of teams like ours, you can't rely on those things equal themselves out, and every team's going to have the wrong decision go against them. You've got to be good enough to sort of, and I suppose luck's a factor, but you've got to be good enough to be a side that won't ruin the game for. And it has for us. The few opportunities we've been able to completely create that would even maybe just lead to a shift of momentum or anything, I've been pushed down because the referee's made the wrong decision. And you can't allow a factor like that as a team to be so crucial in the momentum for a game. You've got to have that in your own control. Yeah, no, exactly.
No, and I agree with you. And I did consult a referee that I know. About it. I sent him the Spencer's post match because it had the clips of the 2 incidents. And this guy is a friend of mine. He's a chairman of a football club around locally to me, and he's also a qualified referee. He's just been promoted actually himself as a referee to step 6, so he can now referee at step 6, which is really good for him. His name's Mark Pepper. and he's like I say, he's a chairman of a club called Deantanger Athletic. And I consulted him, and I asked him, I showed him the clip, and I asked him what he thought, what his as a referee, because unlike Simon, who
Yeah.
used to referee, who isn't actually a qualified referee. He's about as
I,
Simon.
I would
Simon
not
is
want
about
him
as
refereeing my
qualified
game.
Simon is about as qualified as Mark Clattenburg is now
Yeah.
on Gladiators. But so this guy Mark Peffer, he's an actual qualified referee, and it's quite interesting what he said. He's gone on he's obviously gone on the side of the referee here, but so he said to me that in the first instance, the first player attempted to play the ball. So this is the offside one for the goal. He said, flick or not, he tried to play it. Law says he's onside, but that is subjective, and on another day it is given as offside. So that's quite interesting because
Because
uh,
subjective.
yeah,
Subjectivity.
it's down to the referee and the linesman's interpretation of what happened, how the incident played out.
And I think
I
at
think
its sort of rawest form, you can never with subjectivity to a decision like that. At the
yeah,
rawest form and at the bare bones of it,
yeah,
there's so little
yeah,
there's so little anyone can do about that. And I think especially it's going to feel harsher as a fan because I think that you naturally have these rose tinted glasses of way decisions should go towards your team. I'm
yeah,
guilty with it. I know. I notice it myself. I think as a shout, you shout and scream for a penalty. The player's not even
yeah,
touched sometimes. So
yeah,
when it
yeah,
comes down to that, it becomes such a difficult thing to almost assess and analyse. I think.
yeah. And I think as well. Also, it had that play been slightly further away from the linesman because it was quite near the touchline. The incident, had it been slightly further away, he might have been in a better. He might have seen it a bit better because it was literally right in front of him. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he didn't see it quick enough because it happened so
Yeah,
quickly right in front of him. So I don't know. But like I said, he said it is subjective, and on another day it would be given as an offside decision. But on the second incident with the foul, he said that this is where it's quite interesting. He said so the second ball over the top is over the top. So for me, the foul is a yellow card, and mainly because the first touch of Miller um, was quite heavy, and he was going sort of away from goal to on the right hand side of the box, not going to the corner as the referee at the time said. But Mark is saying that because he was sort of on the right hand side and sort of slightly going away from goal, it's not. He himself wouldn't deem it as a red card offence. But he would have given a foul. He would have given the foul, but he would have given the yellow card. So I don't know what you
yeah.
think about that.
I just think I'm not, with all due respect, I'm not convinced whether he was maybe taking a slightly different route to the goal. It's a clear cut opportunity, denial of a clear goal for an opportunity. I think Miller. It's not. He took a heavy touch. I'll give him that, but I don't think he take. I think it's the confidence to take that touch because he's got pace to back it. Quite frankly,
Yeah,
he's a quick
yeah,
player who can run on the ball well with speed, and
yeah.
I don't think Miller's thought there was, oh, I've taken a heavy touch there. Am I gonna? His
I'll
thought
go
there
down.
was
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
getting to the ball and he's looking to shoot, and I think that's why, in fact,
yeah,
he's positioned his body in a way that can be sort of
yeah. I
seen
think because
as
obviously,
going away from goal.
yeah, I think because obviously Mark Peffer is only going on. He's making that comment based on what he's seen on the replay. And if you look, when I look back at it, Miller was on the right hand side of the box, so it probably does, in the referee's opinion, look like he's going away from goal, even with
Yeah,
the heavy touch as well. But crucially, he would have given the foul as well. If
yeah,
Mark was refereeing that, he would have given the foul, but he would have given it as a yellow card, he obviously didn't deem it as serious a serious foul to warrant a red card. So it does sort of beg the question as to why the referee on the day didn't give the free kick anyway. It
at
was
all.
clearly a
It is
foul. We could all see
mental.
it's a foul. And I put the referee was in a. I don't remember where the referee was, but I'm sure he was in a good enough. He must have been in a good enough position to see what happened. So, but yeah. So thank you to Mark for that little sort of assessment on it.
Thank you,
It was
Mark.
obviously it was going to be sort of, as a referee, he's going to go side with sort of almost side with the referee, but it's good to know that he would have given the foul there. So yeah,
it's good to know he's been Specsavers recently.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, well, but look, it's still a loss that we didn't really need.
Definitely not.
And
I just want to ask: is there a loss that we do need?
no, exactly, yeah, no, yeah. I was just thinking there. Well, I don't know why I said that. Really, we don't need any losses, but yeah, no, it sort of puts us in an even more
difficult position.
Tighter position, really. And if anybody like us has watched Spencer's post-match interview, he's quite coldly sort of outlined and said the next 6 to 10 days are crucial to our season and basically make or break our season. We're not going to get relegated, obviously, but if we don't pick up any points in the next week and a half of games, then we can pretty much kiss goodbye to any chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
I totally agree. Like I say, but that's because that's only gonna. There's already a good number of fans that aren't happy with the way things are going. We're all frustrated with the results and not scoring and not winning. But I do have to say that the attendance on Saturday, I think it was about 607 or something like that, or 600 and something. That was
It
poor.
seemed more as well, which is a credit to those who were there.
Yeah, when we were there, we did sort of think, oh, it's going to be low. We knew it was definitely going to be under 1,000, but we were kind of quite hopeful that it was going to be sort of around the 800 mark, which again is a good enough attendance financially wise, is good enough for the club. But 600 or something is we're going back to the tendencies of when we were in the leagues below.
When we were shit.
Yeah. And my only point, I get, because we spoke about this off air, Tom, and I get what everyone's saying, and that I'm frustrated. I'm as frustrated as everybody else is. Even the players and the staff at the club, managers and the coaches, and they're all frustrated with this situation. And it's down to them to get them out of it. But what they do need is they need the fans to be there, and because at the end of the day, for part-time clubs like us, the more fans that are in the ground means more money that's coming into the club, which means the player budget gets the boost that it needs. So which then means we can get the players in and pay for the players that all the fans want to see. If the attendances keep dwindling down I'm hoping that Saturday's attendance was just a one-off.
I don't think it's something we've ever suffered with before either. In the last few years, there's just been a consistent sort of stream of like an uprising of an average number. So I don't think we should panic too quickly. And obviously,
no.
And I think you've got to highlight the positive, if anything, and just say those who are still going are then well done, and those who are committed to that.
Yeah.
I will say as well. I think. I like to think positively, naturally. I think we've all seen that of some of the mental predictions over the years, but Farnborough first and such. But I will say, going into Salisbury, I see that as possibly. I think I'll say this a lot as well, but I think possibly it could be by the end of the season, if we go and get a good result there, it could be seen as possibly the biggest win of the season, biggest game of the season. Because in terms of confidence, I don't think. Going back to a place that we got handed quite an honestly humiliating 3-0 loss, especially when we played well there, and to get knocked out of the FA Trophy, to go there on a cold Tuesday night in Salisbury, I felt that as horrible. And if we leave with 3 points, hard-earned 3 points, especially after recent form, I think in terms of confidence, especially with the lads who were there at Salisbury last time, that will change everything. And I think that is also a factor with our squad this season that has been a real thing is momentum and confidence. And when we win, our wins come consecutively, and it seems like our draws and losses have sort of done the same thing. So I think that one big result to turn it around in those conditions and contextually the game recently, I think if we're thinking about that, that changes everything, and it really could
absolutely
put it all into perspective personally.
But
But
and it's definitely, with Salisbury being 18th, they're 18th. I'm looking at it now, they're 18th in the league. It's a game that we probably should be winning based on league positions alone. I don't think they got a 1-0 win against Chippenham on Saturday, so that's a bit of a confidence boosting game for them. To sort of drag them a bit further away from the relegation zone. But look, we have to go down there and we have to get the result. We have to get 3 points, because
it's got to be a bit ruthless of them,
crucial. It's crucial to the next week and a half for us.
And not, I don't think, with all due respect to Salisbury, and I really like what's going on down there and players they've got and the way they are handling their first season back in the National South. I really am a fan of it, especially some of the lads they've got, really talented ex-Farnborough players as well, like Jaden Perez. I think you've got to have. I don't think we can be that respectful to them. I think the way, in terms of the way they play, you've got to be careful and respectful, because we found out last time that we can dominate the whole game, give away 3 counter-attack chances, and they'll win 3-0. That's literally what happened last time. But I think we've got to have that ego, and I think we've got to remember this season we're not competing for 11th or 10th or whatever the table suggests now. We are competing for playoffs, and Salisbury aren't. And I think you've got to sort of lose a bit of respect for them there, and you've got to go and think they're just a bit of another side who, I wouldn't say below us, because I don't think that's fair, but I think they're at a different stage of their journey to us. And that's where that was us in the 22-23 season, I'd say. And you've got to, I think we need to keep that in mind and remember why we're here and what we're doing.
And
the level we really are at, when we haven't got a bad squad, and a lot has happened to that squad, obviously. And I'm not a fan of the changes. That's not changes, but the consistent revolving door is not good. But it's still, I think, by proxy, a higher quality squad than Salisbury. And that needs to be remembered, in my opinion.
And we'll touch on it just briefly now before we move on to the next topic. It's a squad that's going to be without Guy Hollis, who was announced that he was moved on to Slough. That was announced before the game on Saturday.
A huge loss.
Sad to see, big loss. It's sad to see him go. Obviously, no one knows all the ins and outs and what happened, but obviously Slough have come in for him, and he's gone. He started the game. He started the game for Slough on Saturday as well. Picked up a yellow card, I think, in the process.
Proper Guy Hollis challenge. I've seen the video. It was funny. I loved it. I've got a few things to say about this. Firstly, he's been on the pod twice. Great guests both times, I've got to say. Established that. And secondly, really nice bloke. Very easy, very approachable. And I say that, I think he's approached me more than I've approached him and spoke to me. That's always been. I've always appreciated Guy for that. And I think I just want to say thanks for his service. I really, really liked him. And thirdly, I can't say I necessarily think he's. I don't think you can blame him either, really, especially his context to Slough. He spent over 10 seasons there before he moved to Farnham, and then he's gained the opportunity to play at this level with them again. And probably I'd say the best Slough team. Actually, one of the best Slough teams who's probably ever going to have played in. He's playing a lot of them, and is obviously very familiar with Scott Davies. So it really suits him, I think. So I can't. There's not much to say. It's tough on us because he was really, really big for us, and obviously you look at the long throw and how that's sort of been a ping. Not only Robbo, but it's Guy Hollis's as well. It's really difficult, but I think it's one of those ones you kind of just got to be happy for people. It's non-league football. You can't. These things happen. I mean, especially with part-time clubs. I mean, they're not tied down to long contracts like professional clubs. So these things do happen. And like you said, he's going to be missed. We enjoyed watching him play.
And like I said, he's been on the podcast a couple of times now, and he's one of the most likable and honest guys that we've met. He's always, like you say, he's always found time to talk to us when we've seen him in the Platinum Lounge. And he's always been honest with everything he said, and he's a good guy, nice guy,
And he loves a
and wish
pint.
him all the best at Slough.
Loves a pint too. And Dover
Yeah.
away, I think
Yeah.
Dover away last year, he was suspended. Honestly, by kickoff, he was on Guinness number 4, I think. He's part of the boys. That was a good day. But yeah, thank you, Guy Hollis. That's all I have to
thank
say.
you, Guy. Yeah, and good luck with your new venture at Slough.
Well, not really new, but
well, no, return to Slough. Right, let's move on to. We're going to do a new sort of little section here. This is going to be our non-league team of the weekend. And when we talked about this on WhatsApp, I said that we try and keep it to southern teams because obviously that's the area that we're in, and we don't really sort of. I don't really sort of look at northern teams particularly.
Yeah, it stinks up there.
Yeah, so this is going to be a new sort of feature. Simon hasn't given us his.
He probably would have said Chelsea.
But he's probably forgotten anyway. Like he does a lot of things.
Or no, he would have said Aldershot. Sorry,
he probably would have said Aldershot. Yeah,
they wouldn't have been even a bit of bad answer. They had a really good result, but
had a good result. Yeah,
Aldershot Town. We can say me and Alan can safely say we hope the club burns to the ground.
Yes. Right. So Tom, we'll start with you. Who's your non-league team of the weekend?
I've gone for an Isthmian league team. I was planning to look a little bit deeper, but I saw a bit about this, and it was a really big result. I've gone for #United.
Yeah,
and they beat Dover 2-1. Second place Dover, who have absolutely been barn stomping. I think Dover are a game in hand and 2 points behind the leaders. So
they're coming up, aren't they? They're coming back up.
Basically, yeah, number one. Dover have been the top team in that division. Just off I think about 10 points off the playoffs and 7th. And went to their place and picked up a massive 2-1 result. And I saw actually a good bit of social media stuff about that, which I from PK Humble, which those who maybe know the Filthy Fellas podcast and maybe that sphere will know he's a funny guy as well as a #United footballer. He did some really good stuff. I think I saw him. I think he said, "Don't forget to hashtag it. Fuck off back to Dover" or something along those lines, which was really funny. But what a massive result, and
that's a massive result. Yeah, very good result. Have you followed like the #United sort of story over the last few years?
In bit parts over the years, I think some of it's been hard to miss, especially because such a humble beginning. It's almost Dorking Wanderers-esque, and
because they was like a YouTube team, wasn't it? YouTube channel, just play friendlies here, there, and everywhere.
And now they're playing big time.
Yeah, they've done really well. Their rise up the levels has been really, really good. Like you say, almost sort of Dorking-esque.
And they've got some really good players in that team as well. I mentioned his name already for other reasons. PK Humble. That's not his real name. Percy Canabieni, I think. It will be known to people who know footballing names. Very good player. They had Ted Curd on loan from Chelsea last year, who was Hampton's goalie when we played them, but he's already gone from there. Yeah, I think a few good players and just massive results, especially for the Dover side that are way too good for their division. And it's nice to see the Dover side doing that well again as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really strong, especially that front two. Ruben Suarez Jr. and Nick Hadge at that level. It's insane. I think they've got already 35 goals between them.
Wow.
As a striker partnership. And then you've got Baptiste, who's got 11 of his own as well. Over. So, clearly not a side to be messed with, and they've shown that. And have gone and proved it. I really like them. And I've gone for them this week. Yeah,
no, that's good. That's a good choice. That's a very good choice. Yeah, I remember that sort of followed them a little bit when they were sort of in their infancy, doing the YouTube days when they were playing games for YouTube on their YouTube channel and that, and then they only put slowly watched how their progress through all the leagues, coming up from step 7 to step 6 and all that, and now what they're so they're step 4 at the minute. I think the only problem with them at the moment is I don't think they actually have their own ground, do they? They've done a lot of
No,
ground sharing over the years.
I think they are in Essex-based clubs.
Yeah.
Forget which ones, but yeah, generally that's been it. But yes, I mean, very humble club, obviously. Spencer Owen, YouTuber,
Yeah.
he's really good. He's a really good personality. He runs them and he does commentates in the games. I'll highlight as well with hashtag really generally strong run of fixtures because they recently they beat third place Cray Valley of the Isthmian League 5-1 away. Then gone and beat Chatham 1-0 away as well.
That's a good result.
So I think they've beat 8th, 3rd, and 2nd. Their last 3 results have been all wins against those. Just really good time at the club. I think they're the form team in the division. Them or Dartford or Horsham. One of those. It's them that lot at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah. What was your team?
I've stuck with our division for this one, and I've gone for Chesham United because they beat Maidstone 2-0 on Saturday.
Big win.
And I thought it was a brilliant win for them. I know a guy that I work with. He's a Chesham United fan, and he was like super excited. I mean, on Friday when I spoke to him on Friday, he wasn't really looking forward to it because obviously everybody knows about Maidstone. They're full-time side.
And the run that they're on at the moment, I think
exactly. They've been
17 games unbeaten,
something like that. Yeah, they've been quickly climbing the table over the last couple of months, and so he wasn't really looking forward to it. He thought they were going to get some sort of pace in really. So, and then when I spoke to him today, his smile was just from ear to ear, and it was good to see. And I just think Chesham United are a really good club. They're a really good small family orientated club, like a community club like Farnborough. And I think they're doing really well this season for the first season in the National League South as well.
Yeah.
And I just think they've I wouldn't say they've overperformed. I think they're doing as well as I had expected them to do really. And that was just based on who's at the club, because obviously they've got Alex Horn as a director, and he's done a lot of things for that club to generate money for them. So I'm assuming there's a little bit of money going around.
You could call him the Taskmaster.
Sorry,
you could call him the Taskmaster.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's a designer of the show. He created the show. He's not. Greg Davies is the Taskmaster. He's a little helper.
Front.
Yeah.
Chucking a ball to Mr. Gilbert.
Yeah. But I think since like he's gone in there last season, I think or the season before, he's gone in there and the club has just gone from strength to strength over the last couple of years.
I mean,
and
you think about this
to how they're playing now, and I think they play some good football, and I think they've got some great fans. And yeah, I think they're doing really well. I think they should be really pleased with their season so far.
Some of the names I see in their lineups, they really catch me off guard because, and there's a lot I think Farnborough fans would be familiar with. You've got the likes of Omar Rowe, who I would die. I think I would die on the hill that he had so much more potential in the yellow and blue shirt than I think was allowed for him. And positionally, I think he was sort of misused. But without getting too critical of Farnborough from 2 seasons ago, we know he's a great player. Ryan Upwood as well, another one, great player.
Yeah, I'd say one of us from last season.
And then you look at I think they have Ogo Ogby, who's just a known goal scorer at this level, played all sorts of teams at this level. And last season had who was the guy he let into Hemel this season, top scorer of that division last year. He was super.
Ricardo Germain.
Yeah, Germain. Incredible. And I think so. They're very ambitious. I really like the way they build squads together. I think that's been a really strong factor, and they're not afraid to go for a player, go for a name. They're not trying to be too humble about it, which I like. And I'd say, sort of puts it into a bit of context. Farnborough find themselves on 37 points after 25 games, and Chesham one place below 36. So very sort of actually as things stand, results-wise, similar season to us, and I'd say differences in expectations. You've got to say it reflects well on them. You can say it reflects badly on us, but truly that does reflect well on Cheshire as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's why I said earlier that the fans can be really proud of how their season has panned out this season so far, and they're in and about where I expected them really to be as well. I know they've just been promoted this season into the league this season. So maybe I think a lot of people expected them to be in and around the drop zone, but they're around about where I expected them to be, and I think this is where they will sort of finish. They'll finish between 9th and 14th, and that's where I expect them to be really, and they'll be happy with it.
I agree. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think I had them somewhere like that for my pre-season prediction. There, I mean, I just think they've shown they really well that they belong at this level at the moment, and I think the only way is up. Really, I don't think you can. I don't think there's any reason for them to have a sort of negative perception or nowhere near any underperformance. Really strong. No. And very exciting for the future as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right, yeah, and that's our non-league teams of the weekend, which hopefully we'll keep that going, make that a regular thing for us. Right, so let's move on to the next thing. We're gonna dive slightly into the professional leagues now, Tom. Yeah. So just want to get your views really on Liverpool. Can Liverpool win the title? Do you see them doing it?
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I can. I think 9 times out of 10 that is what's going to happen. I would enjoy also watching them not from this point. I think if they were to not win the title at this point, there'd almost be more entertainment factor now in that than them going to do it. Obviously, what are they? 6 points and a game in hand over Arsenal and Forest in second and third. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a question of can they as much as not when but I wouldn't even, not necessarily when, but they should, I think.
Yeah, I think they've had a little sort of, they obviously have had a little sort of drop in form lately. They've had a couple of draws, haven't they, that are probably unwanted. But
that gives a bit of hope for those opposition fans of Arsenal and City and Forest. And a lot can, I mean, I doubt they'll do much in January, or I haven't seen them do much yet. Anyway, it's the 20th.
Well, I mean, they didn't do much in the summer, really, did they? Either. So
no, I mean, if it ain't broke, but but I also think teams around them will naturally strengthen in January. I think Arsenal can only really strengthen, especially a bit of an injury crisis. I think Forest probably have and will, and then I think City, I think have really strengthened. So I don't think they should.
Yeah, well, City confirmed today a player that they've signed today.
Was it Marmoush? Omar Marmoush?
Yeah.
He's
some the Lithuanian or something like that.
Was it? I'll have a look. I know they've got a centre back. Was it the Kazakhstani centre back?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. Kusanov.
Uzbekistan. Yeah, I've got it here. The Uzbekistan defender, Abdulkadir Kusanov.
He's a good player from
Lens. From Lens.
Yeah. That is, so they've naturally strengthened now, and I think I'm not to overspeak about 6 points about Liverpool, but I think that's been due. I think a lot of their players. I don't really believe in this in football, but it seems like they've almost come with a few some expiry dates have run out on a few of their players. You look at Kyle Walker especially. I think this season, and obviously a lot happens off the pitch with him because he's got to see his wife and then he's got to go see his girlfriend. So it's difficult for him. But I think there's also his team. I think he's just shown he's a bit past it, and I think City. I think they almost got a bit lackadaisical and a little bit cocky and thinking, done it time again, and then I think reality caught them up a bit this season. And I think this works in Liverpool's favour.
Well, City was my next question as well. I don't want to call it a comeback. I called it a comeback on our running order, but are we now going to start seeing the City of old?
I think some normality will resume, like it has the Ipswich game yesterday. I think that possibly.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of plaudits about that game, but let's be honest. It was Ipswich.
I know. I think that's really easy to say. Actually, I think Ipswich, Chelsea went there and lost 2-0. I think. I know. I know.
Spurs went there and lost as well. Spurs lost to them as well.
Spurs went there and lost. I think. And you look at the Ipswich squad, and you start, and it's not a weak side. You look, very good striker. I think should be in the gunning for England contention. The lap. City let go themselves. I think you've got Amari Hutchinson, strong player, recent additions, Jaden Finishing and Ben Godfrey. They're a Premier League level club now, I think, who haven't had great luck this season either. But I mean, obviously the narrative would be expected Manchester City to be Ipswich. But I don't think they'll do enough to find themselves in the title race. So partly because of the gap, but I also think they won't get completely consistent again, especially because the things they went through in that period of 7-8 games with no win. Pep's never even experienced that before, and then Pep seemingly losing his mind. I don't think that just happens for 8 weeks of the season, then it all goes away. I think, especially, I think a lot of sort of reassessment and not a complete rebuild, but adjustments need to be made.
Well, that's it. A Premier League winning team doesn't win the Premier League and lose like five or six games in a season, do they?
Yeah, no. I mean, especially not probably since Pep joined the league. I think since he's joined the league, he's the minimum to get anywhere near a sniff of a title would be 95 points. You'd say, or maybe not so much 22, 20 or 23, 22, but I think that he's raised the standard very high, and I think it's almost worked against him. And I think you've got to look at the models of some of the other great sides who had continued success, even in Manchester. You look at Ferguson's United, and what they built on a foundation that was consistently strong over so long. You never stopped strengthening where it was needed, and I think they had the perfect balance of bringing in new guys when the older guys were sort of diminishing, but then allowing the older guys to sit back a bit more and make the most of the rest of their careers, I think. Whereas I think City haven't quite, in the last 2 or 3 years, done that as effectively. I think Kyle Walker should have been phased out much quicker, and he hasn't.
Yeah, he has kind of relied on his old guard for probably a bit longer than he should have.
I think some players are getting a little bit disconnected from it, and I think and I think some injuries have been unfortunate, like Rodri, and there's not a lot you can do about that. And I think that has been the biggest one. But then that is, I think you can't, and as much as he won the Ballon d'Or, probably deservedly so, you can't over rely on a player, and that is costing. And no great team. Sir Alex Ferguson's United didn't over rely on one player like that. It's quite simply.
No, exactly. And the final one is Big Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham. What's gone wrong? What's going to happen? What should happen?
I just got to say, to quote a famous Italian man, it's the history of the Tottenham. But I think I really like Ange. I'll be honest. I shouldn't. Nothing about me as a quote unquote Arsenal fan should really. But I think he plays football the right way. He's a bit of a maverick the way he does it. I think he makes intelligence on it. I think he's got a really good eye for a player. And and he's been given the license, mostly the license to spend that money. Never too much Daniel Levy, but he type bastard. But I think firstly an absolutely horrific injury crisis. And then having to rely on youngsters like Archie Gray and Lucas Bergwall, who have ultimately actually shown up.
It's not just that. If you look at because obviously I'm a Spurs fan as well, but you look at their bench for the game over the weekend. I think we had one senior player, and that was Reguilon.
Yeah, and
the rest were all kids and youngsters.
And you can tell they're exhausted because that's the team that took 110 minutes to put a goal past Hamburg, and that's not normal. And for Tottenham Hotspur standards, non-trophyless standards. But I don't think. I don't know. I think he's got a bit lost in it all.
I agree with you. I like him. I do like him. I like the way he plays. I like the way he sets his teams up to attack, and that I just think that he, like most managers, he needs to have a plan B where when it's not going right, or when he needs the team to dig in and just defend. Um,
Yeah.
but I think he has been desperately unlucky because, like you said, we've got such a
Genuinely.
huge injury list.
If it happened to you, a championship
There's not a
manager,
lot
you're
he
not
can
carrying
do.
on.
There's not a lot he can do when he's only got he literally has the bare minimum to
It's,
work with. So
I mean,
there's fans calling for him to go, calling
I
for him
don't
to.
think that makes. I
I
don't
don't think
think.
that's the answer.
I think
Um,
in the situation you're in, the last thing you need is another situation like that to deal with.
well,
And
no, exactly, yeah. Because if they sack him, firstly, who do they bring in? And
there's no one
secondly,
available.
no. And secondly, whoever does come in is going to have the same problem because he's going
Exactly.
to have the same injury list to deal with.
If not a
So
worse version of the problem, because he wouldn't. They're not his players, and that's a whole
yeah,
new.
yeah,
I think it overcomplicates things, and I can see why some people think a fresh start and a just new manager bounce. I can see why that is, and that has been effective for teams. I mean, look, it worked in the favour of David Moyes' Everton. I think again
mm,
after I
yeah,
think that helped them really carry them over. But it's
yeah,
just I just don't think that achieves anything.
no,
And I think he's done enough to prove that once he gets those players back and that team starts looking like his side again, then
yeah,
that things won't change. But I
yeah,
also think with Tottenham, there's just a bit of the culture, and you can call it
yes,
culture at the club, but I also think the way the media have sort of labelled them and treated them, as much as it's historically funny, especially as for an Arsenal fan, I also think that is one of the most impossible things to have on you as a manager, just because that's always going to loom over your head. The
yeah,
trophyless thing is always, so there's always
yeah,
going to be a natural pressure to end that, and
yeah,
I just don't think. I think that's been the biggest problem with Ange. I don't think he's ever had to deal with that. I think Celtic, there's obviously that pressure to win, but it's also you're going to be so supported in that because
yeah,
they're gonna win. If not them or
yeah.
Rangers, and he
No,
delivered
exactly.
there.
Yeah.
So I
I
think,
think sometimes it sort of strikes me, but obviously he has this way of playing and he's not going to waver from it. It's worked wherever he's been before, but where he's been before is Celtic, the way that he plays will work against St Mirren,
oh well, yeah,
but
especially
it's
when
not
you
going to work. It's
just
not
because
going
the
to work
quality
against a
gap,
Brighton.
just the gap in quality between a St Mirren and a
Yeah,
Celtic
yeah.
compared to Tottenham
I
and
think that's
Brighton.
probably where this time his time he's had at Tottenham, it's kind of maybe it's been a bit of a shock to his system, where he's not maybe not fully realised the actual quality of all the teams
Yeah,
because he's used to the last few years in Scotland where he's taken a very good Celtic team to, like I said, to a St Mirren or Kilmarnock or someone like that where it's not just expected to win; they know they're going to win, and that's not a mentality that Tottenham carries at the minute. And I think that whole mentality thing at Tottenham stems from above. It's not, and that sort of filters down, and the players pick up on that. And I think Daniel Levy, he's got this sort of persona of being like a hard businessman and that, and he's
yeah.
quite mean with his money for the club towards the club. But he's all. It just seems like all he's interested in is making money for himself and for the club. It's all
I
well and
mean,
good.
he
The
built an
club,
NFL stadium for an English
yeah,
football team.
it's all well and good. The club, they're having that massive stadium to have NFL games, to stage NFL games, to stage concerts and stuff like that, to make all this money for the club. But it's no good. It's no good if the money isn't going back into the club to help the actual football team that team is that club is all about.
I just think as well with Ange, I think if he gets sacked, let's say he got sacked today, I think he'd get signed by maybe a Dortmund or a club of that
Mm.
sort of, maybe like an Inter Milan, or I think he'd get another good job. I think he's done enough to prove that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think in his first season with the new club, he'd go and win a trophy. And I think it'd become a very historically Tottenham thing to happen. But you really have to sympathise with him because I don't think he could have had the foresight to see Tottenham. I think you don't have to be an English football fan to understand. Oh, they don't win that much and stuff. But I think genuinely how deep that the trophyless thing and that mentality the rest of the country takes towards Tottenham. I don't think you realise how deeply that affects the players mentally, actually, and how hard. I think that's one of the most insane things you could have living over you as a manager. And I think it makes the Tottenham job, in my opinion, actually one of the hardest jobs in Europe. I think it's because I think it has a similar sort of doom to it as the England job, you could say. And I don't think you, and I just don't think, especially as like a foreign guy coming into the country and he's only really known Scotland, I don't think he could have mentally prepared himself to have to deal with that. And if he goes and wins Tottenham a trophy, I think that is genuinely one of the. I think that stands bigger. I think maybe something like a FA or a Carabao Cup win.
I mean, this is it.
Bigger than like a UCL for Real Madrid.
Yeah, this is it. We've got half a foot in the Carabao Cup final. We've still got the second leg to go against Liverpool. We won the first
at
leg.
Anfield.
Yeah, I think if we end up losing and being knocked out of the semi-final and Liverpool going to the final, I think that I don't want to say it really, but that could potentially
nail in the coffin,
spell the end for him. Because I think that's probably what the club what Daniel Levy and the club are waiting for, to see if they get to a final of the Carabao Cup, then that might be his saving grace.
And
but then it didn't work for Mourinho, really, did it?
And I think you can only blame. I think that's just an example of where the club weren't very intelligent at all. Sacking Jose Mourinho before a cup final, that is honestly silly. It is silly, but and I think even if he does the most Tottenham thing and loses it in the most Tottenham way in the semi-finals or the FA Cup or against Liverpool, whatever, there's and gets those players back wherever and they still don't perform. I don't see any point in sacking him still. I think the thing that's been proven with clubs that have had similar situations to Tottenham recently is you just have to commit to something you just have to give it a fair chance. And I don't think him getting sacked this season could be reflected as a fair chance. You can make the money argument, but you can make that about any manager. You can as much money as you can spend. You spent a year at a club. You spent a year at a club. You haven't spent 10 years there, and you haven't. So I think you look at Mikel Arteta. That took possibly 3-4 years for the ball to get rolling and title charges to start happening. And I think it can happen. You just have to naturally let that just happen. And I think you just have to recognise the actual key signs of actual. And I think the biggest sign is unrelenting attacking football for me. It reminds me of a Bielsa in that way, and I think Bielsa you can't say was unsuccessful.
No. And just to touch on Arsenal before we go.
Yeah.
But it's not just this season. It's been happening for the last couple of seasons since Arteta's been in charge. The fans that are out there that are calling for him to be sacked. I said this.
Firstly, a loud minority.
They're not. It's not that they're not Arsenal fans. They're not football fans. They're just doing it just to make some noise.
It's that isn't supporting the team, is it?
And this is a Spurs fan saying this. The call for Arteta, and I said this about Wenger as well when they were calling for him to be sacked. To call him to be sacked is probably the worst thing you could do because the man has done nothing wrong. Yes, you missed out on the title a couple of times, but that happens. But it's not sack. Look at where you are. And look at where you were. I mean, it wasn't great under Emery.
I'll never look back on that time fondly.
No, but since Arteta's been in charge, he's done wonders for that club. He's got rid of the dross and the guff, as Simon would say, of players that didn't want to be there, were just there picking up a paycheck, that weren't good enough. They weren't good enough for the way that Arteta wanted to play.
Yeah.
And brought in the players that he wants, and he wants that he knows that can play the way he plays. Yes, you need a striker. We all know you need a striker.
Well, Kai Havertz is Kai Havertz, but we'll talk. We could touch on that in a minute.
But to call for him to be sacked is unreal, and those people should really watch another sport.
I think, firstly, a lot of that talk is perpetuated by, maybe not even so much these days, but I think it was a culture brought into the club by Arsenal fan TV during the Arsene Wenger days, and it breeded this sort of level of Arsenal fan that just were so heavy-minded about it, and then something goes wrong, and they're very reactionary. And I think they were a loud minority that were given a very fortunate platform outside the games and stuff. And I don't.
Yeah, I just don't think they're fan. I just don't think they're not just Arsenal. They're not Arsenal fans. I just think they're not football fans. I think that
I just don't think that is
making noise for the sake of it. And I think they should. I think they need to take up another sport because football isn't for them.
I think,
and I don't think football wants them.
I think they're people that are more prepared to be the opposite of a supporter. They're doing the exact opposite of.
It does no one any good or any favours. Does the club no good? Does the club? I mean, the club will be watching it, but they'll brush it off like a fly, and just say it doesn't mean anything. But it's still something that they don't need to be hearing. And I think those people need to have a reality check and sort themselves out.
In specific reference to more Arteta's reign and why they say Arteta, I think a lot of the time trophies and success gets brought up, and I don't. You can't, like, that is the only indicator of improvement. And he won the FA Cup in his first season when we were poor, and we weren't even great. I don't think we even got kicked on consistently for at least a season or two after that, and then. That's before we even. It was a season or two before we even started looking at top four at that stage, really.
Yeah,
and then that's
but he was using that. That was a time where he was getting all the crappy players out that weren't interested in playing. They weren't his squad as well. Yeah, and now he's got the players that are his, and he's getting in more players that he wants. It'll come. You'll win it. It will come. I mean, yeah. I just think. I'm concentrating on those so-called fans, speaking the absolute dross that they are, and I think they should hang their heads in shame and actually try backing the team rather than slagging them off.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just think that the indicators are there. He's changed the club. I could give you thousands of different reasons. You look at the rise of Bukayo Saka. All completely on his shoulders. He's created one of the best wingers in world football. Pure squad building. You look at what he's done for a player like Gabriel, one of the best centre backs in the world. And I think the balls to cut out Aaron Ramsdale the way he did, bringing David Raya, and at the time it looked so nonsensical. No one understood it. Yeah. David Raya is now possibly the best ball-playing goalkeeper in the world, and is completely an improvement to the side. He's built a really, really just lovely squad, a multifaceted squad. And I still think people take that, for granted enough when you think about the players that he had to start with, and he still got results out of. The Shakhtar Mustafis and the fucking look how much he did just for Granit Xhaka alone. It's like if any, I don't think any other manager would have suited the job better, because I think there's the ties to City's Pep City, and then he's also old links to Arsenal. You're not an Arsenal. It is really mental to me, and you just got to trust it. You just have to trust it.
Of course you do. And that doesn't just go to Arsenal fans. It goes to all fans that at all levels, from the Premier League down to the National League South and below. You've just got to back your team. You've got to turn up for your team, no matter what's going on.
And you've got to support your team. You're not a critiquer of your team. You're a supporter.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's that. Like I said, that's all I've got to say about that. And at the end of the day, you've got, like you say, you've got to back your team. You've got to support your team no matter what's going on.
I completely agree.
Right, I think we should end it there, Tom.
Yeah.
that leaves me to say, here we go. This episode was sponsored by Chartec Consulting, taking your business visions and turning them into innovative reality. For more information, visit chartecconsulting.co.uk. Right, let's say good night, Tom.
Good night, guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the channel. And we will be back next week with another episode.